Superman Worlds of War. This is the first book that Philip Kennedy Johnson will be writing under the Superman banner. Since when this whole event is done with Future State, he will be going over to the main title and Action Comics. Now, this issue was really cool. I think from this alone, you get an understanding that the guy gets his Superman ideology. I think that's a really cool thing we are presented here. There's some parts in the book I'm like, okay, you're clearly calling out some fans of Superman and saying you know better than them about Superman, which I'm not disagreeing with. I think you do. And there's times I'm like, oh, this is kind of being dragged out a little bit, but I get it. I'm not against that at all. I think it works just fine. I will say right now, there are a couple of backups in this book. I skimmed through them. I'll tell you why. I just don't care. I feel bad saying that, but that's the truth. There's just a couple of things in these backups that I'm like, okay. So we get another one of Mr. Miracle. This one takes place before the events of Superman Man of Metropolis number 2 or something. I'm like, why are we seeing this then? But he's on War World. He breaks out of it somehow. Not a really interesting story, but it works for the most part. I think some people will like that. We get one with Midnighter. He's also on War World, and he's like secretly working against the plot in there to destroy it somehow, but he's trying to free somebody he knows, and we see the person he's trying to free is Apollo. So that's that story. I would recommend you guys check these out. Like, I think if you are interested in the Shiloh Norman Mr. Miracle and you're interested in Midnighter, you could get something cool out of these. I, for one, just, okay, they're not for me, so I just wanted to bring those up at the beginning. We also get one for a Black Racer, and I don't know anything about this character, so do something fun with that. It looks like that this character is part of like an Alita Battle Angel roller derby thing. Something happens with that. They just didn't pique my interest enough to captivate me to want to read it more, so I just thought I'd bring those up and say, there are also these backups in the book. If you want to read them, go ahead and do so. You're not going to be disappointed, I'd imagine, but they just didn't pique my interest personally. So they're for you there if you want them. So this Superman story opens up in Smallville, and we're seeing that it looks like it's a thriving business place. Now a lot of people are interested in the ideologies of Clark Kent and Superman because his name was now known to the public, that Superman and Clark Kent are one and the same. And we're seeing this woman show up. Her name is Sadie, and all these people in Smallville itself are like talking about how they know everything about Superman and taking his word as everything. There's like people selling like kryptonite necklaces and all the stuff. They're right. There's people screaming that like this isn't what Superman would want. There's this idea that there's like this teaching of Kal-El where this guy knows all of the history of Superman and Clark Kent. Like, why did Clark do this? Like, take this class in school, and what did it mean for him in this regard and all that stuff? And doing this, I kind of like it because you're setting up that a world without Superman is desperate to have him return, which of course it would be. Superman is the best of us, and that's always what he's supposed to be. So we see this girl named Sadie. It's like nighttime. She's walking to like this random field where there's these bunch of people gathered to talk about their respect and admiration for Superman. And we see that the events of the Superman Son of Metropolis book with John Kent, it still happened. So Metropolis is still in a bottle in this point in time, which is kind of interesting. So we see Sadie joins this group, and the idea is they're all going to share moments when Superman saved them. So we see this one girl was like going to explode from this terrorist, but Superman saved her and just like dropped the bomb. This other kid was being attacked by Magog. Way to bring Magog in here, you know, that shitty Superman from Kingdom Come. Way to bring him back. So like Superman saves the kid, and he's like, I just remember like the tone of his voice being very calm and considerate and so nice. And this other guy was like this like giant squid thing just attacked the city, and Superman just saved us. And I'm sure he does this all the time, and I like that a lot. And this idea also comes into play that these people, they're like, do we truly believe Superman is gone? And then some people are like, no, I think he's dead. Like, he straight up died. Like, how many missions has he went on when the cameras weren't rolling and we never saw him? And some people think he just died too. And then like this idea comes into play of like, you know, Superman was probably like the exception to the rule. If there are really powerful beings in the world that are all Kryptonian, they're probably going to come and take over the world, and we'll get like the age of Krypton. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I really like this artwork. I think it's so clean and interesting. Is this the guy that's going to be working on the Superman book with Kennedy going forward? I hope so, because I think it looks incredible, actually. I really like it. I love these like random designs for different types of Kryptonians because they all like harken to that era of Superman, like that classic feel, but they all look kind of different in their way, which I really like. I also like too that they ask Sadie, like, what do you think's going on? Like, do you think he's coming back? Do you think he's dead? And she's like, he's not dead. Like, he gave us hope for everything. And she's just trying to explain to these people, like, where's your hope? Like, where is it? And this other guy's like, well, he might not be here, but that's because he's everywhere. Superman is everywhere in the world. Like, a fully charged Superman could live for like 9,000 years, so he's not just going to die. He's ascended to another plane of existence. Now that he doesn't have to hide his secret identity or anything, he doesn't need a body, he doesn't need a face, he's just an idea. So you just see like these pages, you just see one page actually where it's like this character, just like a wind type thing taking out a military, and you're like, oh, it's like Superman's ascended where he is no longer in need of a physical form, just like a righteous wind pushing through the world. And this other person's like, nah, he's probably an alien, not immortal, who can shapeshift with all these different things. And we get a page of like all these creatures bearing the Superman emblem and cape of these like different species, and how like in every so often Superman like does what he did on Earth but on different colonies, and he becomes like this different person for this race to save them, an avatar of justice. And this other person thinks, well, no, Superman's not a fighter, he's not going to go around saving the world. He was a farmer, he never wanted to fight. The only reason his fight is because we forced him to fight. And the idea that we could never be good enough for him is what drove him to want to protect us. And, he tried to plant that good seed in our lives, and it never really fully took form. And that's kind of like the problem. And Sadie's like, you guys really think he would abandon us after everything like that? He's not a god. Look at all the people in the town just selling fake stuff like him. That's not who Superman is. If Superman saw what we were doing while his absence, he would not be okay with what we were doing. Like, he would look at what we were doing and be like, this isn't right. This isn't what we should do to him. He's so much more than just his powers. He's the man that did that stuff. And I love this kid. This kid is just like, no, Superman's the best just because he's as strong as he has all the powers. Such a loser to think Clark Kent's the part that makes him strong. And you're like, really? Sadie just gets pissed and she's like ready to leave. And then somebody asks her, did Superman save you? How did he save you? It's like, Superman didn't save me. Clark Kent saved me. And all these other people are like making fun of that kid. It's like, what? She's wrong, man. Superman's only cool because he's the strongest and fastest and most powerful person alive. That's why he's the one that wins every fight he's in. Cut to War World, where I'm pretty sure I thought the entirety of this book was supposed to take place, but I'm glad it didn't. And the cage is being dragged in. We see Clark Kent's in the cage with this other guy. I think it's Astasia or something. And they get thrown into a battle ring, and you see Mongols watching overhead like, watch as the powerless Superman fights for what remains of his honor. And you're like, oh, that's dope. I love seeing this Superman with like just in like the Conan loincloth with a shield and a sword, looking dope. God, McFarlane, make this action figure right now. That looks sick. We're doing like Planet Hulk, but with Superman. I'm like, this looks awesome. I cannot wait to see where this story goes. It's really fun. So it looks like Superman's going to be fighting a bunch of people where he's not as powerful as he used to be. I think that's pretty cool. I'm very excited to see how that's going to go forward. And it is, Sadie's looking up, seeing a shooting star, and she's like, I remember who you truly are. And you're like, oh, that's nice. I won't lose hope. And then that's how we end the book of Superman, Worlds of War. And you're like, damn, that is cool. I love this book, man. It just had that right energy to make me go like, okay, this guy understands Superman. He knows exactly what he's doing in this story. So I'm definitely on board for what this is going to be going forward. There's a real sense, just because you have all these other characters talking about how they know Superman better than anybody else, that the guy gets what Superman stands for. And Sadie's like the voice of reason to somebody who, like, that's who Superman is. You're all thinking he's something more high and mighty than what he is, but what makes him Superman, what makes him the man we all know and respect, is his human flaws. You're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. He's not some deity or a god. He's just a guy. He's just Superman, and he's going to try his best to protect us, even if that means going to Warworld to get home. And you're like, that's pretty sick. I love that look. I can't get over that look for Superman where he's just got like the cape attached to like his emblem with chains around it, and he's just wearing like a little tight like bathing suit piece. I love it. It's so cool. It's fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Like I said, like the backups, they might interest you. They didn't interest me. I think the best one though was the Midnighter one, just because that character is at least a little bit interesting. I'm not sold on this new Mr. Miracle, but I think this was a really fun book, and I recommend you guys check it out. So Miguel Janin, I think, is the artist on this book, and that's how you say their name. fantastic stuff. Absolutely stellar art. And the writing, I'm interested to see what Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to do on the actual Superman title. So I am definitely going to be continuing this one. I'm very excited. So Future states Superman Worlds of War, issue number 1. I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.